Dear viewers, hello and welcome to the first episode of the Disability Briefing by the European Network on Independent Living, where ENIL staff members answer questions on EU disability policy. My name is Francesca and I am a volunteer at ENIL Secretariat. From the 6th to the 9th of June, 448.4 million EU citizens will be called to vote for the new European Parliament, in one of the largest democratic events in the world. Together with the EU Council, the European Parliament approves legislation which is binding for all EU states. For this reason, during the next legislative period, 2024 to 2029, many decisions impacting directly on disabled people will be taken. With me today is ENIL Policy Coordinator Florian Sanden, who will answer some of our questions. Hello, Florian.
Hello, Francesca.
So recently, ENIL has adopted a toolkit to the next European elections and to the legislative period 2024 to 2029. Why did ENIL adopt this toolkit and what information and tools does it contain?
Well, first of all, we want to provide general information to people. We answer questions such as how do the European elections work, what is the European Parliament. Then we want to also support our members and disability advocates in conducting their own lobby work. Third, the Freedom Drive is coming up, and meeting your MEPs, establishing contact, might help you to secure some funding to finance your attendance. Let me explain a little bit more. Give an example of the general information. As you can see here, we have had, for example, a list of the European political parties, which obviously have different names than your national parties, and it will help you to find out where your national parties are members of. But don't be confused when on election day on the ballot paper only your national party will appear. You have to vote for the European parties to your national parties. Then when it comes to the lobby work, we have formulated many political demands in our manifesto to the European elections. And we of course want as many MEPs as possible to be aware of those. But because there are 704 parliamentarians in the European Parliament at the moment, we cannot talk to all of them in our lifetime. So we really need our members and disability advocates to establish contact groups, and you can use our manifesto for this. I will present later in more detail some other materials we are providing. To this also belongs a list of MEPs which are supportive and allied.
Thank you. You mentioned the Freedom Drive. Could you please tell us more about the Freedom Drive? What is it and when does it take place?
The Freedom Drive is ENIL's main campaigning event, which takes place in Brussels every 2 years. Hundreds of disabled people come to Brussels for these 3 days. This year it will take place from the 23rd to the 25th of September. As you can see here, for example, there are workshops on various topics such as supported decision making, or EU disability policy, or international cooperation. Then we have the protest, my personal highlight. There will be a hearing in the European Parliament and also a conference which will go a bit more in depth on some topics like institutionalization. And here you see some pictures from the protest of the last Freedom Drive. Yeah, and we really encourage you to make use of this toolkit to contact your MEPs and perhaps secure funding.
Wow, that sounds indeed very interesting. Thank you. You mentioned previously the ENIL electoral manifesto. What are ENIL's main political demands?
Well, first of all, we need to make more progress when it comes to deinstitutionalization and the expansion of community-based services. At the moment, there's very little progress there. There are still 1.4 million disabled people in institutions in Europe. Some countries are running personal assistance pilot projects, but very few. We need to do more, so we asked the European Union to use Article 19 of the EU Treaty to adopt some standards. Second, still, not all disabled people are allowed to vote in the European elections. This needs to change. In the next legislative period, we need a European electoral law, which clearly says that all citizens, also disabled citizens, are allowed to vote. And third, we need to do more to counter discrimination in employment and in access to social protection or education, for example. We need to update the Employment Equality Directive, and the EU has been working for a very long time on a horizontal anti-discrimination directive, which still has not been adopted. We need this adoption soon.
How can people contact their MEPs?
Well, as you can see here, we have various lists here for you. A list of allied MEPs and supportive MEPs. There's, for example, Katrin Langensieben from Germany or José Guzmán from Portugal. And then there is a longer list with MEPs from all EU countries. You should find your national MEPs in this list. And of course, before I forget about it, the sample letter, which you can customize according to your need. But you can of course send it online to the MEPs, and there you have everything you need really. You can of course also contact me if you would like me to review the letter.
Thank you very much, that's very helpful. And finally, where is it possible to find the toolkit?
Here you see the ENIL website, and if you scroll down under recent news, and you say go on view all news, you see recent articles, and here talk to MEPs, ENIL launches toolkit to European elections, and again you scroll down and you can download the toolkit, and the manifesto is attached to it.
Thank you, and thank you, Florian, for your answers to our questions.
Thank you.
This is the end of our first episode, but if you wish to know more about ENIL's work, you can visit our webpage, you can subscribe to our newsletter, or you can follow us on social media. Thank you, and until next time.